This NFL Week 10 Monday Night Football betting preview edition of the NFL Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Bet365. Bet365 is offering new customers a $1,000 risk-free bet. Sign up today at sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. We're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit HOFBets.com and use promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month and start making smarter bets today. And we're also brought to you by Game Time. Game Time has last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Use promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Welcome, everyone, to the NFL Gambling Podcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. It is Saturday, November the 11th. Yeah, November the 11th. Currently 11:33 on the East Coast. Here to get into the Monday Night Football game for NFL Week 10 between the Denver Broncos visiting the Buffalo Bills. And joining me, as usual, guys, know him as the voice of the MLB Gambling Podcast, the NBA Gambling Podcast, and, of course, here on the NFL Gambling Podcast, it's Lonte Smith. Lonte, what's going on, brother? How you doing?
Not bad, man. Good to be back with you. I wish we had a better game, but I guess it'll do. It's a sneaky, decent game with the Broncos playing a little bit better. But yeah, man, looking forward to breaking it down with you. Hopefully, it won't be too short of a show because it's not much. It's not much there on either side. I mean, I guess some turmoil with the Bills and stuff like that you want to discuss. But yeah, as far as on the field, it's kind of tough. It's kind of a tough handicap. But yeah, man, looking forward to breaking it down with you.
Yeah, it's two teams that are, at least one team that has been performing well below expectations from the beginning of the season in the Buffalo Bills, and a lot of different things going on with this team, whether it's been injury related or whether it's just been, things going on in the locker room that we may not know about that may come into fruition later, players being frustrated, all that hoopla. But yeah, right now the Denver Broncos also in that AFC West, they, we heard about, or we saw them get rid of Nathaniel Hackett, and they hire Sean Payton and Russell Wilson being traded from Seattle, and this is his second season with the Denver Broncos. And it's tough to handicap this Denver Broncos team because you don't know what you're going to get from a weekly basis for them, at least this season. But they're 3-5 on the year. Buffalo's sitting there at 5-4 in the AFC East Conference, AFC East division. Where we knew that coming into this division, or at least in the AFC East, that it was going to be a very competitive division. At least three teams were going to be competitive, right? The Bills, Dolphins, and the New York Jets pre Aaron Rodgers injury. The Patriots, we all knew that they were going to be at the bottom of the barrel in the AFC East, but Miami right now, I think they're sitting at 6-3. Buffalo, believe, they're at 5-4 right now. And the Jets, I mean, after everything that they've kind of dealt with, I thought their record would be a lot worse. They're sitting at 4-4 here. But let's start with the Bills here. Lonte, I guess what's been your general thoughts about this team? Because at home in Buffalo, they've been really good, right? 4-1 straight up. On the road is where they've gotten into trouble. They're 1-3, just 1-2 in the division. But what's kind of been your outlook thus far about this Buffalo Bills team?
Definitely underwhelming. That's for sure. That's the first word that comes to mind with the play that they've been. They showed kind of Jekyll and Hyde. They showed some a bunch of spark when they beat Miami pretty bad after Miami came off that. I think it's ironic. Miami came off that win against Denver where they scored 70, and then Buffalo beat them pretty good. But yeah, underwhelming, inconsistent has been pretty much my mindset or my thought process with this Buffalo team. I know, they got a lot of injuries, banged up all over the place. Allen's
Mhm.
shoulder is hurt. I think
Yeah.
Collinsworth brought it up on the broadcast several times. You can tell. I mean, he's running, but you can tell like he's not running to get hit. Usually, he runs and tries to initiate the contact, but he's kind of sliding a little bit more, getting out of bounds. He's kind of leaning in with the other shoulder, taking a hit. So,
Mhm.
I mean, he's banged up. That's for sure. It's not an excuse that he's going to make, but he is banged up. You can pretty much tell by the way he's playing. I also think that the loss of Dayball. I know it came into fruition last year, but their play calling just isn't as good.
Yeah.
And that was to be expected, I think, for a lot of people because Dayball had his hands all over that offense. And I mean, maybe it's a stale message with McDermott in the huddle. I'm not sure what that's gonna consist of if the season keeps playing out like it is right now. But I mean, some people that I know think this is a buy low spot for Buffalo. They still have, like you mentioned, a good home field. They're gonna get healthier. We know you got Von Miller working his way back. The secondary is really banged up. I know Trey White is obviously out for the year, but some of those guys are gonna get healthy, and this might be a buy low spot for them. I'm not there 100% yet. I need to see some more consistency with the offense. Defensively, they just kind of don't have the guys to me right now, and I think that's also hurting the offense because the defense and offense is usually balanced with this Buffalo team over the past few years. But again, a lot of changes have been made. I just think a lot of inconsistency. They got to be more consistent and get a little bit healthier. But I mean, I don't think it's like full on panic mode for them. They have been inconsistent, but they're still right in the thick of things. I mean, 5-4, they got the 7.5 point favorites here. So, more than likely going to 6-4. They're going to get healthier, like I said. So I can see why a
Mhm.
lot of people a decent amount of people are buying on the Bills at a low point. I think it's a decent, you can get them at a decent price for the AFC. And even for the division. So, yeah, just inconsistency. I think they'll improve with injuries and Allen getting healthier, but I don't think it's like full on panic mode right now.
Yeah, I think for the Bills, these next 2 weeks are very, very important
Yeah,
games
yeah,
because they have the Broncos and the Jets at home.
yep.
And then they have to travel to Philly. They have to travel to Kansas City, two
Jesus.
teams that were in the Super Bowl last year. And then they have the Cowboys at home. They go to West Coast to face the Chargers. They get the Patriots at home, and then they wrap up the season in Miami. So a
Damn, what a
pretty
schedule. Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
that's a tough schedule definitely
Jesus.
for this Buffalo Bills team. So, we'll find out how I guess I don't want to say how serious this team is, but how good
Yeah.
how much they can rally about everything that they've been dealing with so
Mhm.
far, stuff that's going on the field with injuries and things like that for this
Yep.
team. So yeah, we shall see. On the other side, Denver Broncos, I mean, I really didn't have much for this team here. I don't know if what the future holds for Russell Wilson as a quarterback for the Denver Broncos, but it just seems like that after the Legion of Boom and that era that they had with the Seattle Seahawks, he's just fallen off a cliff. Has Russell Wilson? So, I mean, do you have any thoughts on Russell Wilson?
I mean, not really. He actually hasn't been playing as bad, but I think that's kind of what Sean Payton is going towards. If you look at some of his numbers, he's under 200 yards in his last 4 games, limited attempts. They're pretty much winning the games with defense. The defense was atrocious to start off with. Obviously, mentioned they're giving up to 70. But if you look like lately, they've been pretty good defensively. I think 10, 17, and 9 is the points that they gave up, and 2 of those were to Patrick Mahomes and who's
Yeah.
owned him, and the Chiefs who've owned him. And I think they held him without a touchdown last game, right?
The
I think
last game, I
they had
think
9
it
points.
was.
I don't think they scored a touchdown.
Are you talking about the Chiefs?
Yeah, I don't think the Chiefs scored a touchdown, if I'm not mistaken.
The 19-8 game. I think they had one touchdown in
Okay,
that
maybe that's what it
game.
is. Okay.
Yeah, Mahomes threw one
Oh, okay, that's
to who was it? Kadarius Toney, your
okay. Yeah.
guy.
So, well, one touchdown to Mahomes is basically 0. So, yeah. I mean, I think the defense is going to get a little bit better here. They also getting Javonte Williams back healthy, which is kind of helping Russ obviously not have to drop back, 30 times a game because it's just not what, like you mentioned, this is not what he's built to do at this point in his career. But yeah, I think the health of Javonte Williams, him getting back and them running the ball, kind of controlling the clock defensively, I think that's gonna help him. Right now, it's a decent amount of people who kind of like buying on Denver. This is a good spot for him right here to me, I think. But yeah, I don't think that he's the long term obviously not the long-term answer. I think they'll end up taking a quarterback depending on where they finish. I would love to see like Drake May or somebody there. To actually, I wouldn't love to see Drake May there because that means the Giants would have taken him. So yeah, let's not get Michael Penix out there.
There you go. All right, guys. Before we actually get into the Monday Night Football betting preview here, let me tell everyone about Bet365. And look, there's over 88 million people that trust Bet365. They are the world's most favorite sportsbook, and they're also trusted, like I mentioned, by over 88 million players worldwide. Props, sides, totals, live betting. Bet365 has you covered. If you like boost, you're gonna love Bet365, like a 30% profit boost on your NFL same game parlay. Plus, they even have an early payout offer that if your team goes up by 17 points, you're gonna get paid out. Sign up today and choose from two different bonus offers: either $1,000 first bet safety net or a bet $5 to get 150 in bonuses bets. Just head to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. Again, that's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/bet365. Problem gambling, call 1-800-GAMBLER. And we're also brought to you by PrizePicks. With the basketball season here, NBA and college basketball, you can now pick combo projections across the football game and a basketball game from the Specials League, a league created specifically for combo projections that includes two or more players from different sports or leagues. So, for example, you want to get down on LeBron James props, and you want to get down on Travis Kelce at a combo of 10.5, a combo of 3 pointers made by LeBron and receptions combined for Travis Kelce. Want to play alongside some of the PrizePicks favorite players like rapper Meek Mill and comedian Andrew Schultz? Well, you can now find community plays under the promos tab to view entries from some of the biggest names in the PrizePicks community each week. PrizePicks also even offers a reboot policy so that your entries stay in play even if one of your players gets injured. For football and basketball games, if you had a player who exits the game in the first half and they don't return in the second half, well, that player is rebooted. PrizePicks is the only daily fantasy sports platform with an injury insurance policy. So how do you take advantage of this? Make sure you go to prizepicks.com/SGPN and use code SGPN for a first deposit match up to $100. Again, that's prizepicks.com/SGPN, and make sure to use that promo code SGPN. PrizePicks, daily fantasy sports made easy. All right, Lonte, let's get into this Monday Night Football game between the Denver Broncos visiting the Buffalo Bills. Bills currently, as it stands, are a 7.5-point favorite. Total is at 46. Let me get to the injury report here for both of these teams. I'll start here with the road team, the Denver Broncos, on their injury report. I'm currently seeing, let's see, nothing really of significance. Brandon Johnson, wide receiver, was placed on IR on Saturday or last Saturday, but yeah, they're pretty healthy. Are the Denver Broncos. For the Buffalo Bills, Micah Hyde, safety, he did not practice or did not participate in practice on Friday. Stephon Diggs back was limited at practice as well. Both of those guys are questionable coming into this game against the Denver Broncos, but I do expect both of those guys, at least Stephon Diggs, to be out there for sure. Lonte, let's start with the side here, -7.5 in favor of the Buffalo Bills. What are you thinking about this game?
Yes, I'm leaning to Denver here with the hook. I think it's a better way to do it. If you like the Bills, I would just probably put them in a teaser, like open up a teaser, or have it closed to something that went on that Sunday. But I wouldn't trust the Bills laying points right now. I mean, they just haven't proven to me that they can be consistent. You mentioned that they've been good at home, but again, I mean, I think Denver is playing well defensively. They forced 5 turnovers versus Kansas City. I mentioned the last 3 opponents, so it was 17, 19, and 8 is what they held their last 3 opponents to. 2 of those were being Kansas City. And I think, the health of Javonte Williams is bringing back a different dynamic to the offense. Now, he's not actually catching the ball like I thought he would. I thought he would be more so in that Alvin Kamara role, like Sean Payton had when he was in New Orleans. But still, I think he's able to control. They're able to control the line of scrimmage. Buffalo's 19th in rushing yards allowed, so not great, but not bad by any means. But I think Javonte getting the ball, controlling the clock, Buffalo, we all know, Josh Allen's prone to turnovers, so they can create some short fields, and get on the plus side of things. I think they can get in the end zone a few times and keep this close. Um, it's really, honestly, it's really not much here to be honest with you, as far as from an X and O standpoint. I don't trust Buffalo's receivers outside of Diggs. So if they bracket, I'm pretty sure. What's my guy's name? That's for Denver. Um,
Cortland,
the
are you talking about defense?
Yeah, what's the corner is?
Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, I'm certain is going to be on Diggs, but I'm pretty sure they're going to have some safety help over the top. But does anybody else scare me? Like Gabe Davis, inconsistent. He'll have a big game, then nothing. I think I can make a debate that Dalton Kincaid has been the second best receiver on his
Mhm.
team. I knew he had I think he fumbled last week when they were driving,
Yeah.
and that caused the Cincinnati to score. So I mean, outside of that, I think he's been one of the better and more consistent pass catchers on the team outside of Diggs. So Denver, if they bracket Diggs and they're able to control the clock, keep Buffalo's offense off the field, and not turn the ball over, I think they got a shot here to keep it close. But I think it's ways to play it on both sides. I mean, I lean to Denver plus the points, but I wouldn't be opposed to somebody closing out a teaser or opening up a teaser with Buffalo, getting them down under the 7 and under the 3.
Yeah, that's what I was looking at as well. Is probably teasing down the Buffalo Bills to, if you do a 6 point teaser, 6.5 point teaser, whatever your book offers, to getting that down. I do think the Buffalo Bills do win this game, but they also have been really good at home, right? I know the record is indicating they're quote unquote 4-1, but that one loss is that they were classified as a home team in London. So that one loss, at least, doesn't really count towards their home record because it wasn't played in Buffalo. It was in London. But you take a look at their home victories thus far this season. Week 2 against the Las Vegas Raiders, 38-10. They beat the Miami Dolphins 48-20 in the game that the Dolphins were coming off of a 70-point number that they put up against this Denver Broncos team. They beat the New York Giants at home barely, 14-9. I think there were some controversial calls in that game.
Yeah.
And then it took a care of business against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24-18 in week 8. So this team, we know when they play at home, they have a great home field. And again, they're very comfortable playing in Buffalo. So it's difficult for me to lay this touchdown now or lay the spread now that's outside of 7, and it's now north of a touchdown. But again, like I mentioned, they've been so dominant here at home. So I'll lean here with Buffalo. This almost feels like a get right spot for them.
Yeah.
Just like taking their frustrations out and things like that. And again, defensively, Denver, at least in the beginning of the season, we talked about this team, is that their rush defense was terrible, their pass defense was terrible. They've regressed, in a positive way, at least, over the past couple of weeks, like we mentioned. But I think this Buffalo team, just from a talent perspective, I think is superior to that of the Denver Broncos, especially at that quarterback position, regardless if Josh Allen is dealing with a injury right now. So I'm looking at teasing them down, and I do lean with Buffalo here at -7.5. You name some of the wide receivers for this Buffalo Bills team here, Lonte. Obviously started with Stephon Diggs, but the one guy that's really come on for them has been Khalil Shakir.
Yeah.
If you take a look at the numbers for him, at least over the last 2 weeks, even if we go back to the last 3 weeks, but he's seeing some targets. He's seen a total of 14 targets over the last 3 weeks, but over the last 2 weeks against the Bengals and the Buccaneers, 10 total targets, and he's taking advantage of all that. 10 receptions over those 10 targets, 57 receiving yards and 92 receiving yards. So I think that, maybe they found something with him. I know they should have probably went out and traded to get somebody alongside Stephon Diggs, but they weren't able to, or whatever the case might have been. I know we'll talk about player props here in a minute, but as far as the side, I think, this is a great teaser option also, as well as Buffalo. I lean with Buffalo here. If you're able to find it at a touchdown, I think this number consensus starting to move north of a touchdown.
Yeah.
Lonte, before we get over to the total in this game, let me tell everyone about Game Time. Hey, maybe you want to get out to this Monday Night Football game if you're in the area, or you want to get out to a college basketball game. NBA's in full swing, hockey. But if you're not, maybe it's not a sporting event that you want to get out to. Maybe it's a comedy show or a concert or the theater event that's in your part of the world. Well, let Game Time take the stress away from trying to buy tickets, because buying tickets to your favorite events, it shouldn't have to be a stressful experience. Game Time is a fast and easy way to buy tickets for all sports, music, comedy, and theater near you. With killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee, you can stop stressing over the tickets and start getting hyped for the fun you're going to have. And like I mentioned, their app is so easy to use. They have some great things on their app. They have flash deals and last-minute tickets. The tickets are so easy to find as well for every type of event that's in your area, not only just sports. Their lowest price is guaranteed. Plus, they also have event cancellation protection. So like I mentioned, forget planning months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets for football, basketball, concerts, comedy, theater, and much more. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. And get this, if you find tickets in the same section in a row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. That's how confident they are in their prices. And also, before you actually buy the tickets, you can actually get images of your seat before you buy them, so you know exactly what to expect when you arrive. And you can buy tickets in a matter of seconds, 2 taps, and you're all set to go. And another great thing, those tickets are sent directly in that app on your phone. You don't have to haggle through your email box or wait for them to come in the mailbox and they get lost. Nope, sent directly to your phone. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code CFBX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CFBX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. And we're also brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame Bets, a sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay idea into Hall of Fame Bets revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as an expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by hit rate for any team, for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Stop betting in the dark and join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame Bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bets app or visit hofbets.com and make sure to use that promo code SGPN to get 50% off your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame Bets. All right, Lonte, the total is currently sitting at 46.5 in this game. Do you have any thoughts on the total here?
Not really. I think it's correlated. If you like the Bills, I think you want to go over because you think the Bills offense can come out and we'll see more of the Broncos defense from earlier in the season. But if you lean to the Broncos, if you like the Broncos, like I do, you think that it'll be a low scoring game because they'll be controlling the clock and they'll be, not turning the ball over. But I mean, 46.5 is kind of high to me. No matter which side you lean on, because if you look at it, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I had them wrote down, but I left them on my desk. The primetime unders have been like killing it all year. Like I don't think it's been close. And we saw one Thursday that another one that went under, and it wasn't even close to be honest. But like I said, I think if you like the Bills, you're expecting the offense to kind of take a step forward, like you mentioned, a get right spot for them. And even then, I think if you think that they're going to get right offensively, then they have to be, a little bit better defensively as well. And excuse me, Russell Wilson hasn't, shown the ability to, throw the ball all over the yard. And even though Javonte Williams is getting healthier, I mean, he's not the type of back to, break off explosive run after explosive run, especially with that Broncos offensive line. But I do think that the Bills can kind of have some success here, but I do think the Broncos will try to control the clock. And if they don't turn the ball over and Russ can, get out, scramble, keep the chains moving on third downs, then they'll kind of, get their points too. But I think I see it more so like what I'm looking at 20, I guess 24, 20, 24, 21-ish. So that's like right around the number. So yeah, I'm leaning to the under.
Yeah, I was thinking of the Bills team total in this game. It's at 27. Like
so what they got 27 20, so it's what they got 27
they're expecting 27-20 here, right?
Okay.
Like something in that arena. So they have Denver Broncos at 20 for their team total as well. So I'll lean on the it's just going to depend on how well Russell Wilson is able to perform and take advantage of the injuries that the Bills have in the secondary, right? So, I mean, you take a look at the points that the Bills have put up at home this season, 38 against the Raiders. Like I mentioned, they put up, 48 against the Miami Dolphins, 24 against the Buccaneers, and then they had that 14-point game against the New York Giants. But historically, we know that this Bills team has been able to perform well at home. at least scoring points wise. So all the only total derivative that I do like there is probably going to be the Bills team total over in this game. But like you mentioned, Lonte, those under in primetime games have been absolute money. Like you probably don't even have to blink. You bet the under, you're up. I don't know how many units just betting primetime game unders this season. All right, let's get over to some player props in this game. Anything that caught your eye?
Yeah, man, I'll probably I'm leaning to Denver. It kind of just depends on where I want it to get a little bit above. I want to see some Bills money come in. Maybe the public will come in if they have a good weekend and bet it up a little bit more. But I'm probably just gonna be more loaded with player props in this game. So I got a few that I'm looking at. I'm looking at Javonte Williams over 55.5 rushing yards. Like I mentioned, his carries have increased over the last 3 games. He's getting healthier. He went from 10 to 15. He had 27 carries in his last game against Kansas City. And Kansas City's defense is way better than what Buffalo's defense is. And although it wasn't an efficient 27 carries, I think he had 85 yards, which is kind of bad. But he's had 80 plus in back-to-back games. And I think the workload is getting there. He's getting the knee, the leg is getting a little bit healthier for him. So I think he'll be able to control the clock. That's my whole thing with Denver. That's why I lean to him. I think they'll be able to control the game, and I think that starts with Javonte getting the ball a lot. So I'll go over his rushing yards, 55.5. I wanted to do rushing and receiving, but I mean he just hasn't been getting the volume. I don't know why. I think they put in like the rookie McLaughlin, and they use P-Run in the pass game a little bit more. I guess because they want Javonte to be more of a first down, second down back, which I mean he's capable of being a 3-down back, but whatever. So I do like that, and I think both of these are correlated. Russell Wilson under. Do you have his passing yards by any chance
for Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
I don't have it wrote down. I just have his.
Where is Russell Wilson? They don't have his number out yet. Okay, I see.
I'm pretty sure it'll be like right around like 215-ish, 220, because he hasn't been, maybe 209 even.
Yeah, I don't see any Russell Wilson props. They have Josh Allen, but I don't know why they don't have.
So I won't give out that one, but he's under in 4 straight.
Oh, I'm sorry, 210.5. There we go.
Yeah, so I figured 210. Yeah, so I'll go under that. He's under that number in 4 straight. He's under actually 200 yards in 4 straight games. And I think that's correlated with his rushing yards. He's at 21 plus in 4 straight. So basically, you can tell like he's not passing the ball as much. The running the pass attempts aren't there, and Javonte Williams' rushing attempts is there. His rushing attempts are there as well. He's had 21 plus rushing yards in 4 straight. You can find over 20.5. It's kind of mixed in. You could 20 and a half. You can see it will be a 21 and a half, 22 and a half, but you can find a 20 and a half. It's like 3 or 4 books that have it out there right now. So make sure you shop around. Buffalo's 18th in rush yards allowed. I think they'll be able to I think Denver will be able to get some yards on the ground. So I'm going over rushing yards for Javonte Williams and Russell Wilson. Javonte is 55.5. Russell Wilson is 20.5. I'm going under his passing yards. You said it was 209.5, right?
210.5.
210.5. Yeah, I'm trying to give him an extra yard. I'm not trying to take away a yard, but yeah. So I'm under 210.5, and I also like James Cook. I think he's in for a big day. But Denver is 32nd in rushing yards allowed. I think Pacheco had a decent game against them in both times they played each other. I think James Cook is a similar back. His rushing yards are set at 55.5 as well. He's over in 3 of the last 4. He was in a negative game script. They were down 21-7 in the first half versus Cincinnati. So we couldn't really get the ball going. I mean, he only had 6 carries, but I think outside of that, he'll be able to get the ball out quick. If you want to, put his rushing and receiving yards, I don't hate that either. But I do like James Cook in a get right spot, 55.5 over rushing yards.
Yeah, James Cook, I'll start there. I liked his receptions to go over in this game. It's at 2.5.
Yes, sir.
Broncos against the running back position this season, they're allowing about 6.38 yards. 6.38 receptions per game to the running back position are the Broncos. And I think, we talked about James Cook a lot on this pod, and especially on the NFL pod and on the Propcast, that he's going to be involved not only in the passing game, but also on the running game, right? Last week, I had the over on his receiving yards. It didn't get there, but he did have 4 receptions last week. Go back to the game against the New England Patriots, 3 receptions for 46 yards, 3 receptions as well for the against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, and you take a look at, like you mentioned, what running backs have been able to do against the Denver Broncos this season, especially not only on the ground, but also through the air. They've been a little bit better over the last couple of weeks on the ground, but I mean, you go back to that game against the Chiefs. Isaiah Pacheco, like you mentioned, had 6 receptions in that game. Jared McKinnon had 3 receptions that game. Week 7 against the Green Bay Packers, AJ Dillon 2 receptions, 34 yards. Aaron Jones had 3 for 22. And then last week again against the Chiefs, or in their last game for the Denver Broncos, Pacheco again had 3 receptions. So 2.5 right now for James Cook. I like the over on his receptions. Also for the Denver Broncos, they do struggle against the tight end position as well. I was trying to pull up those numbers here. Let's see. Yeah, so they allow the most receiving yards to the tight end position to the Broncos. And Dalton Kincaid, ever since Dawson Knox went down, has been definitely involved in this offense. I know, like last week, you mentioned he had that fumble, but over the last 3 weeks, he's had at least 7 targets. And the other 2 games, he had 8 targets and 11 targets.
Yes,
And he's gone over this projection right now. I see at 51.5 for his receiving yards. He's had 75, 65, and 81 over the last 3 weeks for this Buffalo Bills offense. So, like you mentioned, Lonte, earlier, that if Patrick Surtain and that safety help is going to be focused on Stephon Diggs, that's going to open up opportunities for guys like James Cook, at least through the passing game, and Dalton Kincaid as well. So those are the 2 props that I was looking at least for the Buffalo side. Nothing really caught me for the Denver side. I know you mentioned Russell Wilson on his rushing yards, but as far as receivers, I didn't really anything that didn't fancy me. I think if they're gonna have success, it's gonna have to be on the shoulders of Courtland Sutton. Like,
yeah.
I think the yardage for him have to be there. And let me see what his number is right now.
I think it's like 40 and a half and 41 and a half, and I think Judy is like 50 and a half. One of them, it's like 45 and 50. One of them is the other, whatever.
Yeah, so Judy's at 50.5, and then Courtland Sutton's at 45.5 right now.
So. Yeah.
Let me see what Jerry Judy's been doing.
Man, listen, if you while you looking it up,
yeah,
if you look at Courtland Sutton's numbers, man, he scored a touchdown in 3 straight games, and he has a touchdown in 5 of his last 6. So in the red zone, Russell Wilson's looking for him. So if you can find him, his anytime touchdown score is really too low. I think he's like plus 170. That's ridiculous for a receiver. Especially with a quarterback like Russell Wilson, that's ridiculous. That's like Jamar Chase range, like Justin Jefferson. Yeah, I mean, he's not that. I know he's been scoring, but that's too low. If you could find like a first touchdown score for him, I think that'll be more in line. Or some books have first touchdown score for their respective teams. If you find that as well, I think he's a good bet for the first touchdown score. Maybe split a unit, go quarter unit on anytime. I mean, quarter unit on first touchdown score overall, and then like quarter unit on first touchdown score for the Broncos.
Yeah, I can't argue against that. So right now, like you mentioned, let's get into our touchdown prop bets here. Courtland Sutton, you mentioned for first touchdown for the game.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let me scroll down here.
I know he was like plus 170 for anytime. That's way too low. I wouldn't bet that. That's way too low.
Golly. All right, here we go. Courtland Sutton first touchdown's 11-1. And then anytime is around plus 160, plus 170.
Crazy. That is crazy.
I think they know, like you mentioned, that he scored touchdowns in 3 straight games.
Yeah.
And then 4 of the last 5 weeks he scored a touchdown. So maybe they've adjusted those odds.
Yeah, I think it's only been 2 games all year that he hasn't scored a touchdown.
Yeah. Yeah, I could get behind that. First touchdown, Courtland Sutton 11-1. I think Dalton Kincaid 10-1 for first touchdown.
Yeah,
I think that's definitely in the conversation as well.
What about Shakir? What is he for first?
Yeah, Khalil Shakir 15-1.
Yeah, damn, that's low. Jesus, he like the 5th option, 15-1.
And then his anytime touchdowns plus 280. I thought that'd be north of 3. Yeah, 3-1.
That's ridiculous. Yeah, I can't bet that. He's literally like the 5th option. What you got? You got Diggs, obviously. Even Allen is probably like a better option as far as touchdown score because of his legs in the red zone. And then you got James Cook, that's 3. Kincaid, that's 4. He's like the 5th option. And Gabe Davis, he's like the 5th, 6th option.
Yeah.
He's under 3-1. That's ridiculous.
I was going to look at Samaje P. Ryan just for kicks. He's at 35-1, but Yeah, so I for any time touchdown. I think Dalton Kincaid. I like it at plus 185 just because the Broncos do struggle against the tight end position. I think Shakir at plus 280. It's not the most exciting, not especially a guy that's like the fourth, fifth options, like you mentioned there, Lonte. But I think that he's definitely been getting more targets. And then for the Denver Broncos side, I would look at Judy's plus 250. Jaleel McLaughlin is at plus 310. I know he's kind of
Jesus.
sneaky coming out of the
Yeah.
black backfield for
He is,
them
but he's a
as
third
well.
string. Jesus.
Yeah.
310? Man,
Yeah.
you
So
ain't getting
those
no
are the ones that
bargain.
I was looking at. Yeah. Which ones did you mention that you like for any time?
I like Russell Wilson anytime.
Plus 425.
Yeah, I like that. I like the tight end for Denver. I forgot. I'm blanking on his name. Is it fuck? He was a rookie last year. He had a decent year. I can't remember his name.
Adam Troutman.
That was him, Troutman. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like him for any time as well. That's for the Denver side. For Buffalo, I mean, damn, I like some of the guys. Like I like Shakir, but I mean, I think the number is kind of low. What about Singletary? Is Singletary up there anytime?
I do not see Singletary on here.
Yeah, I mean, he called a players only meeting, so I think he kind of has that respect of the team.
Mhm.
And down in the red zone, he's been rotating in and out, so I think he has a shot if you can find him. He should be at a decent odds.
Let me see.
I didn't see him either. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, I don't see him here either. No, I don't see him. All
Yeah,
right.
that's all. Good.
All right, anything else for touchdown prop bets?
That's it.
All right, let's put together our prize picks entry, then we'll get to best bets for the for the Monday night football game. Let's see here. So I do like James Cook on his receptions, so I'll start with that. It's at 2.5 over on prize picks. We'll go with the more on that. Lante, give me a player prop that you do like.
Yeah, I like Javonte Williams over 55.5 rushing yard. Well, more than 55.5 rushing yards.
Rushing yards. Let me go to that screen. Rushing yards. Williams. Not Jamal. Javante. Yeah, there we go. 55.5. We'll go with the more on that.
Do you see his carries? What is his carries at?
Let's see if they
Like
have it
15 and a
here.
half?
Or just talk about it in general.
Yeah, just his carries. Is it like 15 and a half?
Let's see. Rushing props, rush attempts. Where's the rush attempts? All right, here we go. It's not listed yet.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I only
Okay,
see Russell Wilson at 4.5.
yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But I like Javonte. He's a hometown kid, man. I'm always gonna root for him.
And you said you like the under for Russell Wilson passing yards?
I
Or
do.
you like his rushing yards over?
I like both actually, but if I had to pick one, I
Yeah.
would go with the rushing yards over because if they're in a negative game script, then he's probably just gonna throw the ball.
All right. So 21.5 on prize picks. We'll go with the more on that. All right. So we'll go James Cook, 2.5 receptions more. Javonte Williams more than 55.5 rushing yards, and then Russell Wilson more than 21.5 rushing yards as well. That $100 entry will get you paid $225 currently over on prize picks. Again, make sure just go to prizepicks.com/SGPN and make sure you use that promo code SGPN. You'll get a deposit bonus of up to $100 over on prize picks if you don't have an account just yet with them. All right, Lonte, let's wrap up the show strong. Let's get over to our best bets for this Monday Night Football game between the Broncos and the Bills. What are you going with your best bet?
When I made an error. That's the reason why you couldn't find Devin Singletary is because it was Latavius Murray. That's what I'm looking. That's what I was looking for anytime
Okay,
touchdown score. Latavius Murray.
Murray.
Yeah, I got him in. I got him mixed up. Him and Singletary.
Anytime
Singletary's playing for
touchdown
you.
plus 260.
Yeah, damn, that's low. Yeah, I like that. Singletary is with your Texans right now. That's what I'm thinking about. Yeah. Okay, so I mean, for my best bet, I lean to Denver, but I'm not gonna have any money on it, so I'm gonna actually put a bet in that I already got. Let me see. Damn it, we just went over. Javante, so I don't want to give that one out. I'm going to go with James Cook over 55.5 rushing yards.
Okay.
Like I mentioned, he's over in 3 of his last 4. He shouldn't be in a negative game script. I think Buffalo with Josh Allen is not going to run the ball as much. Yeah, I expect a lot of James Cook here with the 32nd ranked rush defense for Denver. So give me over 55.5 rushing yards for James Cook. That's my lock.
Oh, I love it. All right. I think this is a game where I think Buffalo Bills offense gets right. And them being at 27 points, I'll take their team total to go over in this game. Again, I think that we've talked about the Denver Broncos defense at volumes and how bad they've been, not only on the ground, but also through the air. I think that over the last couple of weeks, they've gotten guys outside of Stephon Diggs involved, right? We talked about Dalton Kincaid. We talked about Khalil Shakir. James Cook coming out of the backfield as well. So I think it's time now for them to start utilizing these weapons, especially in a game against this Denver Broncos defense. And like I mentioned, at home this season, they've been pretty good outside of that Giants game where they only scored 14 points. They dropped 48 on the Dolphins. They scored 38 against the Raiders. And again, you have a Denver Broncos team that's just not very good on the defensive side of the football. So I'll go with the Bills team total over 27 in this game. And then also, this is a great teaser option. So if you want to tease this down to open up a teaser for next week, Buffalo Bills down to 1.5 on a 6-point teaser. I don't hate that look for them. So, and then next week, I don't think there's any lines out yet, just on Bet365 for next week. But let me see. Oh, actually, there is. So, I would tease then the Detroit Lions down to -2 against the Chicago Bears at home.
That's a good one.
So I'll give you that teaser. Bills -1.5 on a 6-point teaser, and then you pair that with the Detroit Lions down to -2 for next week, hosting the Chicago Bears in a NFC North division game. All right, Lonte, that's going to wrap it up, my friend, for this episode of the Monday Night Football betting preview. Anything else you want to mention before we get out of here?
That's it, man. Hopefully we can extract some value out of this. It's not really the most attractive betting game, but props wise, I think I'll be loaded with props in this game as we mentioned. But yeah, so looking forward to it.
Yeah, 100%. Another week in the books. Week 10 is officially in the books, and we'll go ahead and look ahead to next week.
I think we got a good one next week.
Who do we got? You have it in front of you? I can.
Yeah, we got Philly. We got Philly KC.
All right, there we go.
All
right, finally.
Yeah,
we get it.
Yeah.
There we go. Monday Night Football. We got the Super Bowl rematch next week on Monday Night Football. The Philadelphia Eagles. Yep. Yeah, they are going into Kansas City. So definitely looking forward to breaking that down with my guy Lonte. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at XXLonteXX. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsNerd824. More importantly, make sure you subscribe to the NFL Gambling Podcast YouTube channel. And then if you haven't already, like that button here on the live stream, and then leave us a rating and review, whether it's on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you do get your pods. All right, we'll be back next week to break down the rematch of the Super Bowl from last season, the Eagles and the Chiefs. Till then, good luck with your bets this weekend. Let's break these books off and let it ride.